Okay, finally,
where I committed this
court
was London.
section has ended.
When my lawyers came to
Nnamdi Kanu still maintains that
discussion with them
under the decision with the court of trying.
I told them that no.
Well, I think we have gotten to that point of we need to properly begin to define things the way they are. I think Nnamdi Kanu is getting a lot more fresh breath now, because there's nobody that's going to say, sit down, let me, take it up from here. He's bent on getting straight to the point, And before now, we started hearing names of Aisha Buhari is going to be involved. Wike and the rest of them are going to be involved, and of course Buhari's name should be, but he said the wife Aisha should represent the husband anyway, but from the revelation we are seeing now, from what the Somotosho did, giving the voices that are of advocacy coming from the elite political class from the southern part of the country. I make reference to Ned Woko, who's a serving senator presently, where he came out publicly on air and disclosed to the whole world, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu cannot be tried because one, there's a court order, that has not been vacated, So, and this is what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has actually maintained for a very long time, when he was saying that, right here in this court, I will defeat them, So the matter has gone beyond, what people think, even though it's clearly that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is being held, not according by law, but according to interest. Now that interest now has become a national embarrassment, had put Nigeria to a point of mockery, especially coming from the judicial institutions, where everybody believes the law, they are the holders of the law. The hope of the common man, even if you get there, definitely by omission or commission, you'll be able to get justice. But it shows very clearly that, among all the judges in Nigeria, the Nigerian Judicial Council, the NBA, and many of them, could not be able to provide a particular judge immediately Binta Nyako left. And Binta Nyako told the whole world as at that time that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a higher reality, and it will be very difficult for him to squeeze into a corner. But when people thought that was not true, we saw James Omotosho, emerging from nowhere. But this James Omotosho has a very controversial judgment that has painted him in another angle when he passed a certain judgment in Rivers State against the governor elect then, talking about Simi Fubara. So from there, we begin to start to know who this James Omotosho really is. We begin to see that his judgment, pronunciation, towards Mazi Nnamdi Kanu might likely, not being according to law, might be according to, a certain agreed plan, to make it look as if it is the law that judged him. But you can see, all of a sudden, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was able to twist, dangerous ambush by the federal government, and by saying that it's going to involve some kind of witnesses. I'm not giving the whole world how we got to a point where Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has, finally split the Nigerian judiciary, split the federal system, and split anything that has to do with the foundation that leads to legal interpretations in Nigeria concerning the issue that has to do with terrorism and treasonable charges. We can go along. But what they don't know is that this Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case has attracted, world court art. I repeat, it has attracted world court art to the extent. I think that's where the federal government needs to be very careful now, because the judge, the Supreme Court judge of one of the nations in Africa, I don't want to mention the name, but his name ended with Edo. made it very clearly that there's a state Nigerian government will push Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to defend himself, which is a suicide mission. It might get to a point that the World Court Act will be invoked on Nigeria, and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will definitely walk away with referendum right there inside the court. With referendum, that's what the man is saying. Right there inside the court, we have seen people who have gone to court before to defend themselves. It's nothing new, but in this kind of situation, well, a little bit dangerous for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But I think to an extent, he has been able to tell the whole world how innocent he is.
But you said, right thing that the World Court can declare or give Nnamdi Kanu referendum in Biafra that he wants. But this is Nigeria that has not obeyed the
Nigeria has jurisdiction to try me.
Do you think that Nigeria, people like this government will want to obey the World Court Act?
Let me just tell you, too many fish in the pond can stir up the mud. That's what James Hadley actually said. By the time you begin to gather all the atrocities Nigerian government has carried out against human rights, let me just put it that way, it has become so enormous, and it has become something that has become, the whole world has come to notice it. So at any point the world wants to strike Nigeria, and they are going to strike Nigeria from different angles, just like what we are experiencing in the Middle East currently now. Everything that is happening in Nigeria is being documented, which will be used against Nigeria at any particular time. But can the lawyers or the son or the legal luminaries of this country deny the knowledge that they don't know there's a World Court Act that can be invoked on a situation like where Mazi Nnamdi Kanu finds himself? That's a clear part. They will not come and tell you. But you can see the delegates from World Court, who visited Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has already made it publicly that Nigeria should be careful unless he walk away with referendum right there in the court, because by the time and if they fail to do it, that means Nigeria is attracting, consequences of international community, World Court, ICC, and all of that, and that will be too dangerous for Nigeria. Thank God, to an extent now, the matter has taken place, and it has been adjourned. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has come out very clearly and stated his position. That he has gone through the case file, that he didn't see anything incriminating, that he has no case to answer, and this is the position of that man. One, under William Ruto currently now, we saw the decision of the Kenyan court. Not only that, we saw several court judgment, saying that this man is innocent, he didn't commit any crime. Not only that, their own Fulani court too, pronounced judgment that up to the appeal court, and I can give you an insight of what the Supreme Court said on each of the charges that was against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You can go and verify. Mazi was the Supreme Court ruled that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did not jump bail, so there's no justification for that. That is one. Two, that the matter that has gotten to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court made a written judgment on the matter, which we are supposed to abide first before any prayer. Instead, what did they do? They connived with Buhari, Malami, Femi Adesina. They were the people that held the Abuja meeting and went and bribed Kenyan police officers
This persecution
to commit criminality and go against the Commonwealth Treaty, which has become a major international embarrassment and threat to Nigerian system and government and judiciary at this moment. And based on that, that is where the lion himself, the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the supreme leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, the unstoppable, the unquenchable, the man who has come to define a certain era and moment, the man who has championed Africanity, the man who has brought another dimension of freedom fighting, a man who has opened destinies to many Africans and have become a reference point in Africa today. I can tell you so many personalities are talking about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu today, not because of anything, but at least a black man needs to have a routine. A black man needs to understand that he too has a destiny on this part of the world. Thank you.
And the president has said that they are security issue in the country and in the southeast. But
in violation of their own law, and you want me to stand trial and the circumstances, is that possible?
But why is it that the president and the government don't want to throw a great part of releasing Nnamdi Kanu so that at least we know that they can be peace again? Why is it that they have other?
Bro, so let me address with Nnamdi Umahi and what do they call the man from Abuja State, Kanu, Soludo, and the rest of them. I wish you would be able to share this video very well, and I'll be able to tell the likes of Nnamdi and the rest of them, including Umahi, they are not doing anybody any good at this point in time. Whether they are trying to repent, including Uhopos Odima, that is a business at this point in time. The opportunity for nationalism, the opportunity for unity, the opportunity which was given to Nigeria, to seek, internal cohesion of existence has elapsed. That is one. Two, another worker should not be in a hurry, because we know that the issue of state creation is highly manipulated to favor the politicians. I can make reference to Gani Adams' statement some time ago, where he outlined the art of regionalism, the system which we are talking about. What is regionalism they are talking about? Gani Adams made it very clearly, which kind of regionalism? Is it regionalism with state or outright regionalism? Now, what about creating state? No, you said you are adding another one more state to Southeast to make it 6. Now, the same National Assembly is creating more states in the other regions. How does that actually balance now? Networker, let me tell you, I thank you for that consciousness, because I know the area where you maintain a certain point and truth. That, that's the reason, because you say that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in detention is not justifiable. We also, Poroshenko has come to say it's unfortunate that we have Buhari as president that went and committed and invaded sovereignty just because you want to kidnap somebody, and you did a criminal act, and you brought him to your court, and you are committing many more crimes on that. So you can see that there's no balance of national cause when it comes to marginalization of Igbo. When it comes to the marginalization, there's no doubt, So what we are seeking is outright disintegration, balkanization of this entity called Nigeria, where every region will be able to define and understand his destiny, and that is what it means. IPOB is one of the most peaceful organizations in the world. Guinness Book of Record, Nigeria brought insecurity to the southeast just because of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Let me give you an instance for those who does not understand what happened in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's house, where 28 young youths took live bullets with their chests without any provocation. That was the beginning. So Buhari or Aisha, whoever they are, should be taken to ICC.
I had a discussion.
As simple as that, not Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
How I'm going to defend myself.
They remove it. It's not Mazi Nnamdi Kanu killing people in Benue. It's not Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is alive in Nigeria. It's not ramification. There's this quest of Christian genocide everywhere now. You see, can they come out and say it clearly that it was Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that is responsible? But I can tell you, I can give you instances of nations or countries that have come to that point where we are seeing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu today. And that is a signal that the fourth Jewish black nation in Africa is about to emerge, and nobody can take it away from there. And we saw it in Awolowo, we saw it in Awolowo, we saw it in Washington, we saw it in Muhammad Gandhi, we saw it in so many personalities all over the world. At the time, at this point now, you can say that Yorubas are enjoying the legacy of Awolowo and the rest of them. So that's the point he is actually making there. Nigeria needs to go their separate ways. That's the simple truth.
Okay, lastly, do you think it's too late to negotiate with Nnamdi Kanu? Do you think that the Nigerian government will be so proud to negotiate so that this matter can end?
The point of negotiation is to return Nigeria to Aburi. You know, you see, outside that it cannot work. Return Nigeria to Aburi. The one should come and confess. Yeah, as simple as that. Return Nigeria to Aburi. It's a very simple thing. Even as a one entity.
But you no longer delete or delete or different or one. I don't know, but you don't have the capacity.
But let him come out, you know, and make it because his own people are being killed in the Middle Belt too.
My lawyers came to see me.
I think that you understand. So will I was born a free man. Why will I become a slave in Nigeria? Just because I want to answer one Nigeria. There's no justification for that. What have you? I was born an Igbo man, a free man. Then I came when I became a Nigerian, so to say. Then I became a slave. That's not possible. No Hausa man will take that. No Yoruba man will take that. And that's the question of reality that everybody needs to answer. If Nigeria fails to renegotiate and negotiate, return Nigeria to regionalism, return Nigeria to Aburi, the question of conquest will ever and will continue to have more and more and more and more of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. My final message to the United Nations, to AU and the EU and ECOWAS is very straight. There's a purpose of which these organizations were established. And the fundamental purpose, the aim and objective of those organizations is as a result of conflict resolution. They have not been able to live up to that expectation, and therefore I invoke the spirit of the executive order of the United States of America under Donald Trump to issue executive order on Nigeria disintegration, and that will end this matter. Thank you.